Hello and welcome to Game Day Scoreboard. I'm Hakeem Dermish. A monster night of sports on tap, including a fight that everyone and their mom is talking about. 58-year-old Mike Tyson going toe-to-toe with 27-year-old Jake Paul in a sanctioned professional bout at AT&T Stadium tonight. Last night, this is what happened. During their final stare-down, Mike Tyson slaps Jake Paul in the face. I'm not sure that really hurt Jake Paul, but I like it. I like them mixing it up there. The two were originally supposed to fight in July, but it was postponed because of Tyson had an ulcer flare-up. Iron Mike hasn't fought professionally since 2005. Tyson, 31 years older than Jake Paul. The difference is the largest in the history of pro boxing. Tyson tipped the scales at 233 pounds, while Jake Paul weighed in at a career-high 220 pounds. The fight will be contested over 8 two-minute rounds with 14 ounces gloves. Jake Paul is the favorite, the problem child, on a 4-fight win streak since suffering his only loss to Tommy Fury by split decision last February. He's knocked out his last 3 opponents. Iron Mike, the king of knockouts, 44 of them in his legendary career. 58 years old Mike Tyson going against the 27-year-old Jake Paul, a 31-year age gap. Getting set for the fight. Welcome to CBS Sports combat writer Shakiel Mahjouri. Mike Tyson said he's not going to lose. He was once the most feared man in boxing, known for his power. And Shaq, you've seen Mike Tyson during camp. What do you expect to see from him tonight when he steps into the ring?
Man, this is a very interesting one. I think what's important to point out here is Mike Tyson is no regular 58-year-old man. He is as powerful and conditioned and experienced a boxer as you're going to see at 58 years old. But he is 58, and I think a lot of people, especially maybe some of those lapsed fans who are coming into this because of the scale and because of the accessibility of it being on Netflix and because of Iron Mike Tyson, there's a lot of nostalgia. There's a lot of good memories attached to this. But if I were to tell you that a 58-year-old man is fighting someone 27 years old, you would have some questions, wouldn't you?
Yep. Yeah, I would. I would say, does he still have it? Does he still have the power? That would be my question to you, Shaq.
The power, historically, we don't get to see a lot of 58-year-olds scrap it up, mix it up in a professional combat sports setting. They say power is the last thing to go. If you look at even the UFC in the last few years, Glover Teixeira becomes a champion nearly in his mid-40s. The power is there. The things you have to be most concerned about are the reflexes, right? Can Mike react quickly? Can he land on Jake Paul faster than Jake can sort of respond, counter, duck, block? The agility is going to be on Jake Paul's side. The ability to absorb punches is going to be on Jake's side. And the endurance is probably going to be on Jake's side. Does Mike Tyson have a puncher's chance? Yes. Does he have the best puncher's chance of any 58-year-old on the planet? Yes. But while he has the power, there's a lot of other functions of the fight game that are stacked against him here.
Well, Jake Paul is the favorite at more than $2. It's been fluctuating as we lead up to the main card. He's dedicated himself to the sport. Like others, Shaq, I used to think he was all style, no substance, but he's put in the work. He's a real legit boxer. He's helped elevate the sport. What would it mean if Jake Paul's able to beat Mike Tyson even at 58 years old?
I don't know what it does for Jake Paul's legacy, so to speak. I think one thing that's sort of hard to parse about this is a lot of people will clown Jake Paul and say, he's fighting older people. He is. He's fighting smaller people. Often he is. He's fighting UFC fighters with no boxing experience. A lot of these things are true, but it's not all too dissimilar than a lot of guys who are starting in boxing. Like, you'll see these boxers, these young prospects get 10, 20, 30 fight win streaks, and it's because oftentimes they're given a lot of journeymen, they're given a lot of unequivalent challenges to help give them the reps and the experience. So Jake Paul is as legitimate as any sort of young average boxing prospect is. I think a lot of the world that's tuning into this and doesn't know about Jake Paul, they're going to know about him at the end of Friday night. I don't know what it does for his legacy. I don't know that this adds much to the combat sports impression of Jake Paul, but he wins this on the biggest platform that combat sports has in 2024. He's going to elevate a star, and I know he wants to call out Canelo Alvarez. I think we all think that's an absolutely terrible idea, but the man is going to raise his cachet. There's no doubt about that.
Well, we heard Mike Tyson say he doesn't care about legacy. He did an interview with a young reporter, and he basically just, well, you know what? He just shot it down. He doesn't care about legacy. When he dies, he dies. I think that the same could be said for Jake Paul. I think he just wants to prove himself. And again, whether he wins this fight or not, because if he wins, people are going to say, well, you beat a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. If he loses, they're going to say, see, you can't even beat a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. Like, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, that's the situation for Jake Paul, but you got to give him credit for at least risking this and putting himself out there.
And it is prize fighting, Hakeem, and he is going to make a boatload of money. I don't know the specifics, but I can't help but assume he's going to leave tonight a lot richer than he entered.
Yeah, because there's going to be a lot of people watching. I mean, if you got a Netflix account, you're going to be watching. With that said, Shaq, who you got tonight at AT&T Stadium? The curtains will be, they're going to be down. There's not going to be any sun getting in there. Jerry Jones isn't going to be complaining about any sun. So what do you got?
Give me Jake Paul by unanimous decision. A stoppage is always in play. I will say this. I'm not going to be one of these people calling a fix or a conspiracy, but this fight has been given the best possible chance it can in a professional setting to end in a draw. There are 2-minute rounds instead of the traditional 3-minute rounds for all male fights. These guys are wearing 14-ounce gloves, which are typically only seen in sparring. Normally, the heavyweights are boxing with 10-ounce gloves. And so this fight is being given a lot of chances here to go to a draw. If we get 4 rounds from Mike, 4 rounds to Jake. Shorter rounds, less chance of a knockdown. I think a draw is actually very much possible. Give me Paul by decision, but don't come calling for a fix if we get 4 rounds Mike, 4 rounds Jake.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want to see a knockout on either side. Preferably, I'm with you. Let's see it. Let's see a Jake Paul knockout. If you want to see unanimous decision, fine. That's plus 280. Get some value there instead of laying more than $2. But it is going to be a very interesting and fun fight to see. It all begins 10 o'clock Eastern, and we will have it for you here on CBS Sports HQ post-fight coverage with Brian Campbell, Shakiel Mahjouri breaking it down for us here on CBS Sports HQ. Shaq, thanks.